I am Dr. Ritu Roy. I am research fellow at the University of Waikato. I'm a sociologist with diverse research interests, which includes intersectionality theory, migration studies, ethnicity, and racial justice. I am the New Zealand co-lead for the EU-CIEMBLY project alongside Dr. Lara Greaves from the Victoria University of Wellington. I'm also co-leading a work package with Lara.
Tēnā koutou, he reo mō Māpuhi, ko Lara tōku ingoa, and I'm a associate professor in politics at Victoria University, Wellington. I study all sorts of things around politics and political participation. I do a lot of research and teaching in New Zealand politics, in Māori politics, and global Indigenous politics. A lot of my work seeks to figure out how we can represent like quite diverse people and diverse viewpoints around decision-making tables in politics and voting and deliberation and all sorts of areas. I came to this work through a project on intersectionality. So intersectionality is when someone is a member of more than one marginalized group. It was coined as a term by Kimberly Crenshaw in the late 1980s, talking about the experiences of Black women when it came to things like domestic violence, how being Black and a woman leads to quite a unique experience. We have our own version of that, I guess, in mana wahine theory and Aotearoa, but different groups and different peoples around the world all have their own kind of ways of conceptualizing intersectionality or, being a member of more than one marginalized group. A lot of my work is around political participation and making sure that we can have diverse people from diverse viewpoints around a decision-making table. We can have them voting and we can have them deliberating. That's what's so great about this Horizon Europe project, is that it brings together a lot of my interests in diversity and intersectionality and in political participation, in this sense, citizens' assemblies. One of the great things of this project has been learning more about the European Union context. There's a lot of great lessons that Aotearoa New Zealand has that can be translated, can be taken into other contexts, and that's been a great challenge and a great thing to work through.
EU-CIEMBLY is a transdisciplinary project which aims to improve the deliberative democratic participation for marginalized groups, in particular those who belongs to multiple marginalized social groups. In this project, I bring my interest and knowledge in intersectionality theory in the context of deliberative democracy to understand and identify the unique challenges and barriers experienced by people belonging to multiple marginalized social groups, and how can we reduce these barriers to improve their participation and inclusion in mini publics like citizens' assemblies.
It's been awesome to be involved with colleagues in the European Union. Our project has many different institutions and countries involved, coordinated out of the University of Coimbra in Portugal, with significant input from University of Essex, so a lot of legal scholars. We have people that are more involved in the participatory budgeting and public administration type work as well. Out of Italy, we have different kind of civil service organizations like make.org and others that are like working at the kind of coalface, that are working on citizen participation. So we've got like quite a range of partners and stakeholders, and it's been cool to work more with legal scholars who have a different perspective and public administration scholars that have a different perspective. The way that we got involved is Dr. Roy and I had worked on intersectionality in this thing called the Youth 19 survey. We had surveyed young people from Waikato kind of north, Tāmaki Makaurau, Taitokoro, and just a representative survey of young people run by professors Terry Ann Clark and Teresa Fleming. And from that, the Ministry of Youth Development contracted us to look at intersectionality and young people's wellbeing. We ended up writing a report on that and then a journal article. And so that kind of gave us that background in intersectionality and data in the New Zealand context. From that, colleagues at the University of Coimbra literally Googled intersectionality New Zealand, and our work popped up. And that led us to kind of have a conversation with them on Zoom, and ultimately led to our participation in the project. It was quite early on in the New Zealand EU free trade deal and that kind of area and time where we could actually apply for these grants. So I hadn't heard much about Horizon Europe at that point. We had this meeting though, and it seemed like Dr. Roy and I could contribute to the grant. And so we ultimately collaborated and put the grant application in. But with all of these things, you never think you're necessarily going to get it. And we did. And so we were successful in the first kind of round that New Zealanders could participate in Horizon Europe. And it's been great to make sure that there's some social science and humanities participation in that.
Horizon Europe project brings lots of opportunities for us here in New Zealand. It widens our opportunities for international and future collaboration with European universities and researchers. We also get to learn through this collaboration to work as a team in a transnational and transdisciplinary context.
It's been also awesome to take the lessons from Aotearoa New Zealand, from Māori politics, from Te Ao Māori, and think about how we can conceptualize those in a way that is relevant to the European Union, because we do have a number of solutions, a number of lessons that we can kind of translate or transport to the world. And so that's been a real honour and a great opportunity. It's been great also as a scholar that came up during the COVID period, the early career since I started as an academic in 2019. So it's been quite great to be able to access international networks and work internationally when a lot of us were quite disadvantaged by not being able to travel overseas. So it's been excellent to do that, to be able to talk to people from different backgrounds and different scholarly backgrounds and make these networks and connections. Another thing about this work that's been really cool is just having that opportunity to learn more about citizens' assemblies and learn about how other countries have done them and what the kind of challenges have been, but also the opportunities. Because New Zealand is increasingly interested in citizens' assemblies, increasingly interested in deliberation and thinking about different ways to do democracy. So it's been great to be able to take these lessons from this European Union project and start to discuss them with scholars and colleagues here. We've seen some great work in terms of like local government citizens' assemblies, great work out of Koitu, great work out of the Porirua Citizens' Assembly and Ngāti Toa Rangatira. So to be able to connect with those scholars has been great, to be able to think of what are these kind of lessons from the EU citizens' assemblies and to kind of cross-pollinate and discuss it with other colleagues has been excellent and a great experience too. In the social sciences and humanities, I think there are a lot of lessons that we can kind of take to the world and a lot of great scholars we have here that we can take to the world. We have limited social sciences and humanities funding in Aotearoa, but we have so many opportunities with this Horizon Europe Fund to engage with scholars all around the world, to engage not only in Cluster 2 about the creative inclusive societies, but also to engage in these transdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary teams and jump onto all sorts of interesting problems. One thing I think that's relevant is that New Zealand, we've got that number 8 wire mentality where we're used to making do with bits and pieces here and there and coming to great solutions. And I think that serves us really well to work, from here to work over in Europe and to work with colleagues over there. We're quite good at ingenuity and coming to solutions and coming to pragmatic solutions within budget, within time, and all those sorts of things. We have a great range of humanities and social sciences scholars that are quite well-renowned and world-renowned and could do amazing in a lot of these projects and funds. The other thing about Horizon Europe as well is it's kind of problem or mission-led. So what happens is the European Commission put up these projects and then people form teams or consortiums. And I think from that, there's a lot of opportunities for New Zealanders to bring their unique skills and to jump on board and try to solve some of these problems. The other thing is a lot of the problems that the European Union are facing are very similar to the issues that we're facing here, especially when it comes to democracy and those sort of social science and humanities type topics. So I would, encourage people to get on board there.
There are some challenges associated with this form of collaborations as well. The key challenge that we face here in New Zealand is the time zone difference with Europe. So most of the time we end up taking calls and meetings in evening and sometimes even in late night from New Zealand. Another challenge is because it is a transdisciplinary project, we always have to be careful and cautious about making sure that we are more or less on the same page and have a shared understanding of the social problems and the concept that we are using in the project. Aside from these, it's a new research environment and infrastructure, very different from our own domestic funding structure here in New Zealand. Within Horizon Europe project, there is a lot more nuanced and detailed reporting and layers of bureaucracy involved, which might come across as a little bit tedious or unfamiliar for us New Zealand researchers. Advice to people wanting to apply for Horizon Europe will be that make sure your online research profiles and portfolios are all up to date so that people can find you easily from overseas. And I would also encourage them to have a conversation if they already have existing relationship and collaboration with European colleagues from European universities. So it's always a good idea to have a conversation with them and get to know and understand how the Horizon Europe project operates, the operation and the bureaucracy of it, the expectations and responsibilities around such kind of collaboration, I think, is really critical.
In terms of advice that I give to someone for jumping on Horizon Europe, I would say invest in yourself, spend an afternoon maybe watching some webinars, making sense of it, having coffee with people who've had them, talking to your research office and figuring out what the first steps are for you. One piece of advice I've heard is to talk to European colleagues as well. Through the limited networks I've had as an early career scholar, I've noticed a lot of colleagues actually have had Horizon Europe funds. So I've talked to them about it and the kind of projects that they're doing. There's also like a range of support materials put forth through EURAXESS, through your research office, through just various European Commission documents and portals and websites. There's a lot of information out there. If anything, it can be hard to wade through it, but just kind of invest in yourself, invest in an afternoon to learn more about it and think about what kind of work that you would want to do and what kind of projects you'd want to be part of. There are different kind of matchmaking events and different kind of portals that you can put up little ads about yourself in, and again, just spend some time doing that. Spend some time thinking about how to market yourself and what your skills are and putting that up there. I would also say that there's a little bit of a difference in research cultures compared to a lot of how it works in New Zealand and New Zealand funding and European Union funding. I think our universities are doing a great job at coming to terms with the different reporting and the different way that the funding works, and are definitely progressing well in that space. At this point, I think we've got the system set up. The systems are starting to be set up. And so, just get into it, get stuck in and make a profile, make a little ad and see where you end up.